Let's make sure this is working. I just blew out my candle. There's like smoke everywhere. All right, we are live on Facebook. Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna click record so I don't forget, and then we can get started. Okay, yeah. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm excited to have this be an interactive call where first I want you to mute yourselves now, and then if you do want to say something, then you can mute yourself. So that way we don't hear any background noise. So just pay attention to your mute and unmute as we do this. But I'm totally all for you guys just being really bringing your questions to me, and I hope too that you will all feel comfortable. Just hi Jason, hi everybody, thank you for joining me on Zoom. I'm gonna try to pay attention to anyone who might be wanting to ask questions in the Facebook group as well. So you guys are here with me on Zoom, which is going to be fun because you guys have the opportunity to be coached. And so what I was saying is I want you guys to feel comfortable talking about anything. I hope that you're to a place where you feel like this ER Shred group is like family, and we can all be open and vulnerable. And many of you have, like Jason, thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing your story with us. And I hope we can all get to a space where we can just open up and feel comfortable in this ER Shred group, because it's such an amazing group of people who are very supportive. And we're just gonna dive into different things that you guys might have found yourself struggling with in the past, or even at this point, if you feel at all that you are frustrated in any way with yourself around sticking with this, or find yourself being controlled by your emotions. And a lot of times we end up eating things that we don't really want to, because we are being fueled by the emotion that we're experiencing at the moment. So is there anyone, well, wait, first, before we dive into that, I wanted to make sure I covered a couple things. First of all, congratulations to all of you who are doing your ER Shred, because it's day 4, this group ER Shred. So you guys are almost done. The hardest part is over. So yay. Tomorrow's going to be awesome. And oh, good job. Awesome. Drink your water, drink your bone broth. You've made it so far. After this call, you can go take a nice hot bath, go to bed, and you've done it. And then tomorrow, I hope you guys will all share with us maybe just how you're feeling so far, or just what you're eating tomorrow. That'll be fun. We can all kind of show how we finally get to eat. Yay. That's always fun. And then, oh, I wanted to talk about this really quickly. So we talked about the ER Shred, we showed you, we got the apparel, which is really cool, but I also wanted to give you a little more background around how the logo was created. And it was really cool because Sean put a lot of thought into this, which I love that about him, because he really takes the time to make sure that he does it right. I'm more just like, let's just get it done, but he puts a lot of thought into things. And he really, the ER Shred logo is not just ER Shred. There's a lot of meaning behind how it ended up. The way it perfectly brings in the masculine and the feminine, which is really what Sean and I want to make sure that we encourage in this culture. How amazing we can all be together as we embrace the masculine and the feminine and bring it all together. So he wanted to make sure that that women, the women feel that this ER shred is very feminine, but yet it's also masculine, a perfect balance, perfect combo. And that's one thing I think that Sean and I have really come to together in our lives, in our marriage, in our relationship, in our working together, co-parenting, business building, is learning how to embrace our unique gifts and talents, but also the masculine and the feminine, and how much powerful we can be when we all work together in that way. So I love the feeling that I get in the ER Shred group, in this culture. There's so much that we're all bringing to the table, and we're just, oh, it's just so beautiful. So thank you guys so much for all that you've been contributing, and I hope you get the sense of the balance of the masculine and the feminine that Sean and I feel that we really want to develop within this group. Okay, does anybody have any questions, first of all, to start off? Okay, well, as I talk, because I have things I want to talk about, but I just want you guys to know that if you do want to interject, then feel free, just unmute yourself. And if there's anyone live on Facebook, then you can pose questions there as well. So I'll try to stay aware of what you guys are saying over on Facebook. All right, so one thing that I wanted to talk about is recognizing how powerful our emotions are. And I know you all understand the power of our emotions and how it can either lead us in a positive direction or a negative direction. And I know all of you are here because at some point you were fueled by the negative emotions to a point where you were choosing foods or actions or things that were not serving you and were not helping you in your goals to feel well, mind, body, and soul. And that's really what I want this call to be about. It's not just about asking questions about the protocol and the ER shred, the meals and all that kind of stuff. This is really to dive into our mental health, our emotional health, and know that I really do feel like this is like a family. Like, we want to help each other in mind, body, and soul, and be that for each other, be that support, so that we can continue to thrive in this type of lifestyle and feel like this is something that we can do long term. And that's why I wanted to cover the emotional aspect of the things that we do. So one thing I wanted to break down is how, and I know you all know this, but it's always good to get reminders, right? That our thoughts are what creates our emotions, and our emotions are what fuels our actions. So sometimes we feel powerless in our situations, circumstances, things arise. We all have things that come into our life that we don't want necessarily. And we, at that point, get to decide what we're going to think about it. So we're faced with, what's going on right now. I know that this, I'm not going to say the word, but you know what I'm talking about. What happened last spring is still going on, and I know is affecting many people in a lot of different ways. So whether it be financially or emotionally, and I know that some people have gotten really sucked into the fear aspect of it, because sometimes we mistake the fear for being smart and protecting ourselves. And that's where we got to understand that you don't have to keep watching the news. You don't have to stay up on every single current event in order to protect yourself from potential hazards. We can be aware and not ignorant, but we can also be very protective of what we're bringing in. Just like Sean talked about the other day in his video, challenging all of us together to turn off the media just temporarily. I know it might be hard because we feel like, oh, we got to know what's going on, but what if we don't? what if it's okay to not know all the sad, crazy, scary things that are going on in the world? And I like to compare it to, we always know that there's tragedies and things going on in the world. And are we going to sit around and be sad and depressed about it? Or are we just going to go on living our lives? Because there's not always things that we can do to control it. So why consume our minds with it? Why would I go every day and, read up on what's going on in Africa, the children that are starving, or, kids that are being abused? It doesn't help. I have no power to help what's going on there. The only thing that I can do right now is focus on what's in my immediate circumstance and situation. How can I be of best service to others? And the way I can be of best service is to be well emotionally. And we can be well in emotion. We can be well emotionally, but we can also do our part in changing the world. And it all starts with our emotions. So we don't understand the power that we have right here, the power we have to influence others for good and for in such a positive way. Does anybody have anything they want to add to that?
Crystal?
Yes.
Hi, it's Diana.
Hi, Diana.
I love your smile and your energy.
Thank you.
I live in Stoughton, Wisconsin, and I'm on day 24. I've just gone back to back without introducing anything.
Okay.
And I've had some very emotional comes in the morning, and things have really been brought to light for me from things way back in my past. And it's been so healing. And my heart's pounding really fast right now. It's been so healing, and I can't put a word to it or words. Just it's been gut-wrenching at times. And then the peace comes, and then joy. It's right here, just like that. And if I could just share a teeny bit of my story, I don't want to take up a lot of time here. Yes, I lost my 36-year-old son in 2014, very tragically. And I'm a mom, and I'll always be his mom. And there isn't a day that I don't miss him. I try to celebrate him every day. That brings me a lot of joy. But there's been, since doing this for 24 days, there's been a lot of clarity as far as, I don't want to say how he died right now. I'm not ready to share that. But there's been just some clarity for me as a mom. And I'm good. So what has happened to me in the past, when Corey first died, I helped families clean their house. And I was cleansing this day when I was cleaning, and my teardrops were so huge that when they hit the wood floor, they made a splash sound, and a literal splash. And I remember at that time, my voice just changed. I felt like an Indian woman with this guttural, I don't know, wail. That was crazy for me to experience. And now I look back at that, and those were my mommy tears. That's what I call them, is my mommy tears. And so then that made me want to find out about tears. So I Googled tears, And I found out that there's a different chemistry in a grieving tear and a joyful tear. And the grieving tears burn your face. These aren't burning my face now. These tears that are rolling down my face, they don't burn. They're, it's a, I don't know how to explain it, but it's all good.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
It's all good. And I'm just going to stick to this and just receive more healing and healing and healing, physically, mentally, and spiritually is it's been balled up like that. And I'm so blessed. I'm so thankful.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. It's so powerful. And I love that you're connecting it all. Like, how amazing is that to get that clarity as we work on taking care of our physical bodies, and how that opens your mind and your spirit up to more.
Yes, to more. And it's just, to me, it's just amazing. I can't, you guys talk about the magic. It's beyond that. It's it's all good. It's all good.
Wow, that is so powerful for you to share that. Thank you so much, Diana. Thank you. That is such a beautiful thing.
Thank you for letting me.
Oh, yes. I love that. Which reminds me of this thing that I wanted to show everybody, of this emotional scale. Have any of you seen this? I think this is a really cool visual of understanding our emotions and the level that we're at particular times in our life. And by understanding and becoming more aware, you do find more clarity. Like Diana was saying, like suddenly you are, as you are practicing awareness with what's going into your body, you're also practicing more awareness around your emotions, your thoughts, the things that you are choosing to consume in all ways. Like we're talking about the food and the information, and being very deliberate and intentional about the things that we are choosing to bring into our minds, and keeping it in a place where we want, I really do love talking about the law of attraction, and this really kind of coincides with the different, wherever we find ourselves in this emotional scale is where we're vibrating at. Like that is the emotions are just energy in motion, and it's a vibration in our body. And when we're, in a certain space of emotion, we are vibrating at that, and we have this frequency, and that's kind of like tuning into a radio station, and you're at this in this station, and that's kind of what your reality is. Everything that you see, everything you perceive is being filtered, or you're basically having the lens, you're putting on different lenses. So if you're down here at fear and grief, like we're talking about grief, you have that lens on, and it's like everything feels so overwhelming, and and that's what you're seeing. But I'm not saying that we shouldn't be feeling these lower vibrations. Like this is a whole, this is what the human experience is. It's okay to be down here. It's okay to do what we can to work our way up, but give ourselves the time to be here at grief. We don't want to be so quick to rise up, because of course we love to feel this one. This one is the best, but this wouldn't be as powerful if we never felt this. Like what you're saying, Diana, how you have been here. You've been here, and how this joy, what you're expressing, is like, wow. And it's like making you cry because of how much you feel it and how good it feels. But it's because you've been here that it feels so powerful. So embrace all of these, but also know that wherever you're at, you can take actions to rise up. And like boredom or stress and boredom, I think, is the main emotion that we feel when we eat the things that we don't really want when we're feeling a little bit higher on this vibrational scale. So when we're feeling bored, sometimes we eat, sometimes we snack. And so just by being aware of where you're at here, you can also begin to be a little bit more aware of the thoughts that are going on in your mind that are causing you to be here or to stay here. So for you, Diana, I'm sure there's a point where you got, after feeling so much grief for a certain period of time, you allowed yourself to feel that, but there's a certain point where you get to where you're like, okay, I don't want to stay in grief anymore. I'm ready to move up. But you cannot rush that. That's what I think sometimes we do too often, is we rush ourselves up because we just want to feel better. And then sometimes we use food, or we use alcohol, or we use other things to get us here, but it's only a temporary fix. And then we're going to crash back down to grief because we have not fully allowed ourselves to feel every single emotion that in our human experience we are meant to feel and experience, and not be so quick to push it away. So I love just acknowledging the thoughts that are going on in our minds, because that's kind of where we have the control. We have control over our thoughts. And I know for myself that it is, once you get on that train of thought, wherever you are at in this emotional scale, it can be very challenging to stop and be like, all right, I'm ready to stop thinking these thoughts because it is keeping me stuck and it's not serving me, because our thoughts create our emotions and our emotions fuel our actions. So if we want to create, and ultimately that all creates our results. So if we want to create contentment, which is just, look how cool it is to see that boredom is actually pretty dang high on the emotional scale. So you can be proud that, okay, well, boredom is not so bad. I can do boredom. And I love boredom because if we learn to sit with our emotions before taking action, sometimes we sit with the emotion first instead of being so quick to react, because oftentimes when we're down in this lower vibration, it is very hard to sit with the emotion. We want to take action from the emotion. And that's when we do things that we regret, like say things that we regret, which I am guilty of many times. And it's also acknowledging, when we're talking about the feminine and the masculine, embracing the feminine aspects of us, which I feel is something that I'm just barely finding myself being more aware of, and not shaming and suppressing the emotional cycle that we go through as women. And as we learn to embrace the emotions that we feel and that we cycle through during the month, then we can get better at not being so quick to react to whatever emotion that we're feeling, and we can sit with it. And like I was saying, boredom, we can sit with the boredom, and boredom is the starting point of creativity. And a lot of times we're so quick to be like, oh, find entertainment. And oftentimes it's one from food. But if we can sit with the boredom, that's where the spark of creativity lies. So it's pretty cool when we learn how to sit with the emotions first before reacting, and learning that the positive aspect to every single emotion, even though we call these ones more negative emotions. But if we remove the term positive and negative, good or bad, and just see them as separate emotions, then, and seeing it as a whole, that it's important for us to feel all of these emotions, then if we want to feel this passion, we also have to be willing to feel insecurity and guilt and unworthiness. So allowing ourselves to be in every single emotion can really be such a powerful thing. But also being aware of our thoughts and the train of thoughts that we're attaching ourselves to, or the beliefs, these deep-seated beliefs that we are actually quite possibly unaware of. And that's what I feel like where I come in. I love helping people figure out what it is that's holding you back. Sometimes I'll do a coaching session and people will just talk and talk and talk. And I can be the one to listen. And sometimes we are unaware of our own beliefs and the things that we say. We are actually so unaware of what we are so used to saying. But when another person who is listening to you in an objective way that can actually offer you advice around, oh, hey, did you see how you said that right there? So that's where I want to be that's what I want to be here for you guys in this group. And as we do these coaching sessions, that's kind of how it will look. You're going to tell me what you're currently experiencing, and then I will be that observer as you talk to help you pinpoint some of the things that your brain might be telling you that are not true. And it's very interesting how the brain works. Our brain is very creative. It can come up with some pretty awesome stories that are not even true. And sometimes we're so quick to believe them. And I know you can all relate to, different times where things have, somebody has said something or done something, and our brain quickly decides what that means. And later we find out we were way off base. We're like, oh, sorry, I got so mad at you for something that my brain just made up and I believed that it was true. So as we practice the awareness, we catch those thoughts, we can be more deliberate about changing our vibration so that we can put on a different lens. No longer will we feel this worry and doubt and disappointment. We'll take off the lens and we'll put on another one, and we'll be like, well, I'm going to feel contentment now. What kinds of thoughts do I need to practice in my mind to feel contentment? And the cool thing that I learned, that it's been really interesting for me to learn these things over the past 5 years. I feel like it's been this aha. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that I have control over my thoughts. First of all, that's something that's like within the past 5 years. I think I knew that to some degree, but I didn't know to what extent. I just thought, or the emotions, like feeling, oh, these things just keep happening to me. And I didn't realize that I had a choice to think differently about them. And as I am learning to, be aware of my thoughts and realizing that I have control over, I can choose a different emotion. I just have to practice the thoughts that will give me that emotion. And beliefs are just thoughts that we think over and over and over. That's a cool thing that I didn't really comprehend until just more recently. Just, oh my gosh, I thought beliefs were just, I didn't know beliefs. I didn't really understand what beliefs were. I just thought there's truth and then there's not truth. And so I didn't know that my mind, based on my upbringing, based on my experience, based on what all these people taught me growing up, or any, books I read, people I looked up to and admired, I didn't realize that they contributed to my beliefs. It was mind-blowing for me to realize that, oh my gosh, beliefs are just thoughts that we think over and over and over. So I like to use the word indoctrinate. I don't know if that's like a triggering word for anybody, but we can indoctrinate ourselves to the point where we are believing something that is creating the emotion that we want, which ultimately creates better results for us in our lives. So if we want to get out of boredom, because we know that boredom usually leads us to eating things that we don't want, we sit with the emotion first of all, like I said, and then the spark of creativity starts coming, and then we move up the emotional scale, and we don't give in to the urges that come to us with particular emotions that we feel. And I love to, I have a PDF I've shared a couple times, but I'll share it again. You guys can print it off. It's just a few little worksheets that I have put together to help in different areas as we work at making this a lifestyle and being aware of our emotions and how they create our reality. This is a 100 urge tracker. And basically the way I advise people to use it is, instead of beating ourselves up over the times that we give into the urge to eat when we're feeling boredom or when we're feeling stressed, then it's more about using that as information. So you gave in, you were stressed that day, something happened, it triggered some emotions, and then you gave in to the urge that came with the emotion, and you ate the cookie or whatever. And then instead of beating yourself up about it and being so upset, like, why did I do that? Oh, like, we're not going to do that. We're just going to look at that as information, and we dissect it and we ask ourselves, okay, what were my thoughts when I decided to eat that cookie? And you write it down. I love writing things down, and I think it really is helpful to get what's in your brain out onto paper so your eyes can actually see it, because that is one step closer to being that much more aware of what your thoughts are, because there's so many different thoughts going on in our minds. But when we can put it all down on paper, we have the ability to see it and see the lies that our mind is creating, first of all. And second of all, we can identify the thought that triggered the urge, and we can work at retraining our brain to think differently in that particular circumstance. So you come home from work, you're really stressed, and you eat the cookie. So we don't get angry and upset at ourselves about that. We just ask ourselves, why am I afraid to feel stress? Why do I feel like food is going to relieve me from stress? Because we all know it only relieves you from the stress temporarily. And then it ultimately creates more stress because you're causing that stress by beating yourself up over it. So we get clear of what the thoughts are, and then we can practice the new thoughts by creating new beliefs, by indoctrinating ourselves with the proper thoughts that will create the higher vibration emotion. And then I have in the PDF file as well, there's a bunch of different worksheets, but one of them is just, a worksheet to identify the thoughts that are creating the urges. And this is just something that you can keep track of so that you can work at changing those thoughts. But you can make it a goal to, at every time that you feel an urge, you want to check off 100 boxes. And by the time you check off the 100 boxes of the times where you do not give in to the urge, see how much different you feel and how much more empowered you are. Because now you see that, oh my gosh, I had 100 urges and I did not give in to them. And the more we work our way up to not giving into the urges, to starving the urges, then the easier it becomes. You train your brain that, okay, I drove by Chick-fil-A or Starbucks and I'm not going to stop and get it. And you're proud of yourself. Hey, I drove by Chick-fil-A and I really thought about stopping to get it, and I didn't. Check. And you just work your way up to, just tracking how many times you can starve the urge, and then it just gets easier and easier. But luckily once you get past the 11 days on the ER shred, you all have seen the power of that it does become a lot easier. No longer do you need to muster up so much of that willpower to stick with this long term. It just becomes more of a lifestyle. So does anybody else have anything they'd like to share? Even just a past experience that you've noticed was a habit or a common theme for you around food, or just indulging in different lower vibration emotions, and were there some things that you learned on how to get out of it, how to raise your vibration, or how to change your thoughts? Are there anything like that, Heather? I like how you raise your hand.
I'm sorry, teacher mode.
Yeah.
So that was what I was focusing on for my fourth shred. and I just started
Okay.
thread number 5. The
Awesome.
other thing, and I was totally connecting with you when you were talking about beliefs, and that's currently what I'm actually reading right now, and it has shifted my mindset. It's the spontaneous healing of belief.
Ooh, that sounds
Uh,
good.
and since I started reading this, my brain is thinking differently, and I'm feeling the energy shift, because I do 100%, I'm feeling that happen, that I'm changing my thoughts.
Yeah.
And so I can completely connect with that. And I think you've seen it since I started in October.
Yeah.
But I'm not,
For sure.
they made pizza and French fries tonight, and I'm not even tempted, and it doesn't bother me. So
Yeah.
I'm feeling completely in control of my thoughts right now. And I thought going back into school was going to have an effect on that. Like going back into the building with all of the new styles of doing things. I wasn't sure how I was going to do, and I've been in control, and I haven't lost my mind. So
Oh, that is so cool.
I'm taking that as a very serious win.
Yes, I love that. Thank you, Heather. That's a great win. Anyone else want to share anything? Jason?
There we go. I had to unmute myself.
Okay.
So just some things that came up for me. You talked about law of attraction, and you were talking about vibration, and it made me think about all the times when I have raised my vibration by meditation or eating the right nutrition, and it made me think about spiraling up and spiraling down, and how as my vibration lowers and I attract that lower vibration, it just knocks me down to the next level of lower vibration, right? Until everything around me is causing this victim mentality, that the mindset that it's all happening to me, rather than I'm creating it, right? Rather than believing that I created this storm that I'm in, and I've struggled. That's been my biggest struggle my entire life, is trying to stay above that and keep my vibration up there, and this has given me such a huge mental shift, and raised, ER Shred has raised my vibration, just sticking with that, and allowed that mind, body, spirit thing to happen on a whole nother level. So I'm finally feeling myself spiraled all the way up to the top of that rainbow that you just showed, and staying there, and attracting so many awesome people and so many great experiences in my life now, right? No more victim mindset. It's just abundance, right? Just constant abundance.
Yes.
So I love that chart, and I love the idea that that you have the ability to raise your vibration, and then allow that higher vibration to attract more of that into your life. So that's pretty awesome. So
yes, thank you, Jason. That's so awesome to hear that, and so inspiring and uplifting. I love that. Thank you. And I love, it's really interesting when you think about how, when you are in a certain emotion and you've decided to attach yourself to a certain thought or belief, that your brain goes to work seeking evidence to support that. And so if you notice, I mean, we all can think of certain situations where we have thought, we've told ourselves a story about a certain person or circumstance, and our brain is so attached to that, we've allowed ourselves to be so attached to that it does its job by seeking evidence to support that thought. So you will only see things that will support that and prove that thought true. So it is so amazing once you realize that you do have that power. It's hard though. It's not always easy to stop. You just like, you want to, sometimes we're just like, no, I want to hold on to that thought and belief. I want it. But it's like, once you let it go and you let yourself rise up a little bit, you're like, oh my gosh. And you almost feel really silly that you made up all these things, but it's like, you really do see from a certain lens, and your brain just goes to work supporting that belief, supporting that thought. And that is our reality. We've created our reality because of the thought that we've chosen to attach ourselves to. And it's pretty liberating once you realize that it's all because of what you've decided to believe. Yeah, thank you so much, Jason. That was really awesome. April, do you want to say anything?
Can you hear me? Am I unmuted?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, well, again, I'm probably gonna cry.
Let's cry. Let's let it all out.
So up until like January, well, no, probably the middle of December, I just kept beating myself up. And it was, I'm sure there's many of you that can relate. It was, I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm such a fat slob. Or I'd go to bend over to put my shoes on and it's like, holy shit. Like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, you better be careful of saying that F word. Yeah. Like Heather got in trouble for saying that F word.
It just bending over to put my shoes on, it was like, it just felt horrible. So a lot of the negative thoughts, a lot of the negative wording. And then when I started the shred, January 4th, within days, I was finding clarity. And my mind shifted to, wow, you know what? I'm like, I don't say the fat word anymore. Like, I don't think of myself like that. I look in the mirror and I see the changes. I look at myself getting just whatever, passing a mirror, I can see the change in my face. I feel it in my mind. It's like an overall mind body cleanse. And I've continued. I'm not on my second shred yet, but I'll be starting next Tuesday. But I'm finding that as I introduce foods, I'm craving more now than I was doing the shred, which is, I don't know if anybody else has experienced that, but even last night I fell off and I've been doing so well. And last night I actually sat down and I ate 3 whole blend bars. Like, that's a lot. And I felt guilty at the end of it because I was like, that's kind of gluttony. Like, I don't need 3 bars. And then
Hey, April.
I kind of, yeah.
April.
Yes.
It's okay. They were whole blend bars. It's okay.
Yeah.
They weren't Snickers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't Snickers bars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, good choice to fall off the wagon.
Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna binge on something, binge on those.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you, Jason. But you know, after I ate them and I went to bed and I was sitting there and I'm thinking, you know what? Okay, you did it. Suck it up, move on. So this morning when I woke up, I started my day fresh and it's been a great day. So I'm finding I'm not getting stuck.
Yeah, you don't go down the spiral of negativity. Yes.
Yeah. So
good job.
I'm finding, I'm sure it's just with more clarity and the fog gone in my head, or clearing. It's just, I'm finding more things to be positive about and stay positive. And I'm finding that if I show up, like, to all these lies I'm taking so much away. I even went on the Isogenics call today with Fatima Doman, and
Mhm.
that was even empowering. It's like, wow, I can watch free tutorials and free uplifting experiences, and
Mhm.
like you and Sean was saying about getting away from negative TV, CNN.
Mhm.
I I honestly have made the ER Shred group my new channel. Like
Mm.
I I incorporate it into my day to make sure I go through and read posts and see what people are talking about and sharing, and it's just it's just a positive, empowering um, news source. Like the ER
Yes.
Shred is that's my channel, that's my news. Like there's
Yeah.
comedy, there's drama, there's
Yeah.
you know sad
Yeah.
and like
Yes.
so yeah. So I'm just truly grateful for
Mm.
the group, and I've said it before. Like if I'm feeling this great now, what am I going to feel like 6 months from now, or or 4 months from now? And I'm
Mhm.
just super excited about my journey and the people, the
Yeah.
community. Like
Mm.
thanks to you guys, you make my news station enjoyable.
Yes, and what a
Yeah,
testament to that,
yeah,
the aspect of consuming things in our mind, of how much better you feel, and how I believe that's what contributed to you getting right back on track. You
yeah,
know,
totally,
yeah,
totally.
because you're
I agree.
continually, you're keeping yourself consuming the things that are going to uplift you, motivate you, inspire you, empower you, and that keeps you above water. You know, like
Yeah,
you're not gonna sink. You're gonna be like, all right, I did that, and way to catch yourself too, to not be shaming yourself for that. Like, it's okay. I did.
yes.
It's done. It's okay. Tomorrow I'm getting right back on track. And you can even just, go dive a little deeper and ask yourself, what was I thinking at that time? That What was it?
That,
Or
that
what
I
was I
ate the three
feeling?
bars.
Yeah, what were you feeling? Or, either one.
It's yeah, I've thought about it. Like I thought about it last night, even after. So the first one was a snack, a treat, and
Hmm.
then it was like half an hour later, I looked at my blood sugar and it was still okay, and I'm like, I want another one. I thought, wow, you can't honestly want another one. Well, I did, so I had it,
So,
and I
well,
was like,
maybe it's more of like listening to your body. Maybe it's okay. Maybe you've just told yourself, I'm not allowed to eat that many. What if your body just really craved it, and that's okay?
I never thought of it that way, but yeah, I
Because, like
made
Jason said, if you're going to binge on something, like, at least you made a really good choice.
yeah. Yeah, but yeah, it's kind of today when I did get back on track, I looked in the box and I was like, oh, I only have like 6 left. So, but anyway, yeah, it's, I didn't stay stuck. And Jason's right. I didn't go to the cupboard and grab regular granola bars or
Hmm.
um, peanut butter and crackers or like my old go-to. Or
Yeah.
sometimes I would drive into town and feel
Go
like
get
a
something.
McDonald's cheeseburger. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
ugh.
So
So
The
I
old
love that. Yeah. Go ahead, Jason.
the old me would have said, "Oh, there's only 6 left in the box. I better eat them and get them out of here so I'm not tempted."
Yeah. I know. I do that too sometimes.
yeah. So
Mm.
anyway, it's good to, I'm journaling like crazy. So it's good to reflect on the thoughts
Yeah.
and the feelings I was having. And it'll be nice a couple weeks from now to look back and reflect on yesterday and today
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
be
I
like,
love.
oh,
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because there's so much that you can learn from that, and there is no need for shaming that. There's so much information packed into that, because first of all, understanding, why do I feel like that was so bad in the first place? Why am I not focusing on the good part of it? The fact that I didn't go to McDonald's and I didn't choose something else, and like acknowledging that, being grateful for that aspect of it. And then also, I love that you got right back on track, and just really kind of reverse engineering that can really be so powerful in the next situation, because you can be more understanding. You can understand exactly what was going on in your mind, exactly the thoughts that you can choose to think to, make that better. Also understanding, wait, how come I'm suddenly able to get right back on track, as opposed to before, where I would mess up and then it take me, I don't know, days or weeks to get back on track, So it's like, oh, that's interesting. Like, where have I made this shift, and what was it? Is it my new thoughts, my beliefs? Like, what is it in particular that is giving me that empowerment to get right back on track? And just noticing and acknowledging your growth there can just be that fuel for the next time around, where you feel like snacking and maybe you'll only binge on 2 of the bars.
Yeah.
You're like making progress.
Yeah.
That's all that it matters.
Yeah, true. So, but yeah, again, thanks to the community. Thanks to you guys. It's it's empowering.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's funny, Heather, to go back to the fact that you used the FAT word and got banned for that. It's like, I guess we all better be careful about using that word, because on Facebook, you're gonna get
careful about how you use it, because
okay.
You are fat adaptive. Well, they didn't keep the word adaptive. So because I said you are fat, I got thrown into jail.
Well, are they gonna like hear this video and like ban this video because you just said the word? I'm like, that's gonna be really hard to like be like so careful about saying certain words.
But I think Facebook jail is a place for us to not say that to ourselves.
Yeah, I know, that's good. So, let's be like, let's just try not to use that word at all. Like, that's not part of our vocabulary.
No, but when we're talking about like butter,
science and all that, that's going to be kind of challenging.
That will be our challenge.
Yeah. You know what? One of my favorite movies is I Feel Pretty. Have you guys seen that? Okay. Well, whoever has not, April, you need to go watch.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite movie.
Really? I know.
Yeah, because it's me. I feel pretty.
Yes. That's awesome. It's such a cool visual of how our thoughts like really do create our reality, and how cool it was that, she had that experience. April, I'll just give you the cliff notes. She had an experience where she hit her head or something, and suddenly she saw herself in the mirror as like this supermodel, but nobody else did. I mean, she was still the same, but she was always so hard on herself, and just never saw herself as beautiful in any way. And then suddenly she hit her head and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm like supermodel. And like, she's just confident, like all these cool things happen. Like she gets a boyfriend, she gets this job, her dream job. And it's all because she saw herself as beautiful. And it was like, it spilled over in her, the way she interacted with people, the way her confidence, the way she held herself. And it's just really cool to see that is so real. Like can really happen. Like if we can actually see ourselves the way, in a positive light, and see the beauty, and just see ourselves beautiful exactly the way we are, like it really has an effect on how we act and how we show up, and how our confidence and the way we talk to people. And it's just really cool to see that in action. So I love that movie so much. You need to go watch it. Okay, well, is there anything that anyone wants to say over on Facebook, in the Facebook group? I'm looking at the comments right now. We got 5 more minutes if anybody else wants to add anything, but I'm just going to look through some of the comments really quick before we end.
I want to hear more about the feminine and masculine of the R Shed logo, please.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Well, it's cool because we were working with a designer and he showed us all these different logos, and Sean was really diligent by getting other people's opinions, and he noticed certain logos looked really masculine and certain colors looked really masculine, and he didn't really, it was just like getting other people's feedback. He's like, oh my gosh, yes, like it has to have a feminine look to it as well. Like, how can we combine the feminine and masculine? And so I love the colors so much, because the pink and the red, like how it fades from the red to the pink, I love that, because it's like bringing the two, the feminine and the masculine together, combining the colors, even just the way the E has a little bit of this thing right here, and then this is not so sharp. It was like really sharp before, looked more like Sean said it, I think somebody, or he said it reminded him of like motorcycles or something like that. And so they just tweaked things like so slightly to make just the letters be a little bit more feminine, but still have that shred look to it. So it's just really cool, the intricate details and the thought that he put into it, and really taking into consideration the feminine and the masculine, and how powerful that is when we work together and we embrace both and we learn how to integrate both of them. So I'm just loving how, we do have a good balance of women and men just showing up here and even being vulnerable. I love that, all the people that Jesse's been interviewing, and seeing, these men be really vulnerable is just like, thank you. Thank you for showing us that you can be so open and honest about your feelings and about your experience. And then, I just think it's such a powerful thing. So I love the way I love that the ER Shred logo has so much depth, so much meaning to it. So we're really passionate about this. And I love that you guys are all like just as passionate about it as we are. So this is really fun to share the passion with so many of you. Thank you guys so much for joining. This has been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed talking about all things personal development and really getting clear on the power that we have over, creating, how we can create the reality that we want. And it all starts with our thoughts, and we can create our whatever belief we want. If we want to believe that we are awesome supermodels, like empowered, like just, we can believe that. We just need to practice thinking that over and over and over, and that just becomes such a solid belief that there's no going back. All right, you guys, you have a good night, have a great weekend, and enjoy your meat meal and shake tomorrow.
Thanks, Crystal.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
The
Bye.
ribbon crossing.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. See you guys.
Bye.